Hello YouTube, Max Mechas back again, and this time we're taking a look at my very first masterpiece Transformers figure, MPM 04 Optimus Prime. And I've really been looking forward to this figure so much. I've seen this from, we first got that still shot of the 3D rendering, and I just really wanted to get my hands on it. It's the only masterpiece figure apart from MPM 36 MP36 Megatron that's really appealed to me, but I had to have it. And while the robot mode is perfect, vehicle mode could use some touch-ups, but we'll get on to that as we go through the review. For now, let's take a size comparison at the only real thing you can compare this to. So I'm just going to back the camera up a bit so that we can get it in here, because they're both quite large. Let's just take that up, move him to this side, and bring in Leader Class Revenge of the Fallen Prime, who you can see vehicle mode much bigger. Now it's almost like you're stepping down from this. Oh, he's got that angry truck eye look there. Stepping down from this to this, and then here you would have the Hunt for the Decepticons Battle Blades Optimus. But I do like how this one has more of the silver pinstriping around the flames. Now you do have the gold along the bonnet on this one, but really with this you'd see that these pieces which become the chest here at the front, they would be all orange if you did that, which wouldn't really look so good. And you can see just down the side that there is much more of the flames coming down this one, and they're coming right the way where these ones stop back here. These are coming all the way down the wheel well. It just looks tremendous. I cannot fault this thing for the paintwork. What I can fault it for in vehicle mode is the gapping. Now this is something a lot of people have complained about. Maybe once, this is the only time I've been able to clear this window gap at all. And even then there's still some of it coming through as it's been sitting overnight. I'll just crunch that back there because I did manage to fix this. There we go. But what happens, and this is the problem I found with mine, which opposed to other people's is not the same problem. There are really strong tabs on these window pieces connecting through from the side into here, this blue panel. On mine, those tabs are really strong. Look, you can see there, I can barely fit it in. And they're so strong that when I tab them in, they misalign with the doors, which misaligns with this, and the whole thing comes undone. So it's either sit with all this misaligned and a flat top bonnet, or sit with the bonnet completely raised, gap under the windows and everything aligned. I can't win unless I modify this, which I'm probably going to have to do. I've already done one modification, which I'll show off in robot mode, and the only other thing I've done with this figure outside of the instructions is change up the backpack layout. Now, before we get on to robot mode, we'll just take these ridiculous accessories off here, which store at the back. Now, they are cool in and of themselves. I love these massive battle blades that we've got, and the cannon as well, which I'll just show off here. You just untie those from the side, and it does look like his gun. Now, the Buster Optimus gun is so much cooler in that it actually transforms from the tanks, but watching back over the films, that's not where he gets his gun from. He just sort of pulls it from inside of himself, because the tanks are still there on his back, unless that was just a CG mistake, but it's hard to say sometimes with Transformers. Now, take a quick overview of the box, because for once I actually kept the box. I only ever do this with figures that I really like, so we'll set them off to the side. And you can see here, just pulling this up, this really nice image of him here. On the front, you've got that typical black masterpiece box logo up here. Vehicle mode, robot mode. You see that here, MPM 04 Optimus Prime. 10 years. So last year it was 10 years since the first Transformers film came out, and that to me is pretty damn amazing. I didn't think they'd be going so long, and well, I'm glad to see that Michael Bay's been removed from the project now, and we're hopefully going to get something more along the lines of Prime in terms of a solid story. I don't know about the rest of you, but I want to see the military play a very minimal role in the Transformers movies. Moving on to the side. Nice view of vehicle mode with those ridiculous weapon storage on the back. You can see from here if we get the light off it at the right angle. There we go. The face changing gimmick, posable hands. Don't know why they mentioned that on the box, but you know, it's there. Matrix that he has stored inside of him, and that looks okay. It's not the best, but you know, at least you have it. People would complain if you didn't. And just a nice overview of him here on the box. And that's really about it. Oh, this nice side piece here. And what I like about this is when you pull this out, boom, picture extends onwards. So I'm keeping this box in case I ever want to put him away again. But for now, here he is, and that's about all I can say really on vehicle mode for now. So let's go without further ado and get him transformed. This is going to take a while. The first thing I'm going to do, just to make it easier on myself, is these things here. Now, whereas on the Revenge of the Fallen one, these were ball joint, they're not, they're just double hinged. So you have to raise up the first hinge in here, and then on this second one, just carefully rock it out, but it's very hard to do. Sometimes it's very sticky, and they just sit like that. So this one gives me trouble more than the other. Come on. Because the very bottom hinge is loose. Top one, not so much. Oh. Almost. There goes the air freshener. There we go. Right, now he's got these angry eyes. But we'll leave that be. So, first step you want to really do when transforming this, as that's just an optional one, fold down this back panel. Then you want to untab the wheels from here, and in here they just tab in along the side right here, so just get that undone. You can see them on both sides there. And this whole lower panel here unpegs from the side, and that's on a double hinge, so just bring that out and just leave them off to the side for now. You're not going to need him till the very end of transformation. So, those out of the way. Next thing to do is pop down the smokestacks, because you're going to be lifting this whole section up, and this is where things are going to get a bit origami. So you fold into here, right to the back, swing around on this hinge, bring it down and tab it all out. And these will always just fall. They don't really tab in, they just sort of sit there. So doing that again on this side, lift this up, flip all of this back, bring this in, bring it down, tab it in, and leave it like that. And now you're going to see something very similar to that Revenge of the Fallen leader, in that the legs are almost exactly the same transformation. There's one or two different things about it. For instance, these headlights come away with all of this, and this box folds up along the inside of the leg now instead of being on the outside. But apart from that, it's exactly the same. So we'll just flip it on around here. I'm trying to balance them carefully so nothing puts too much pressure on anything. So let's see. This will do. So we'll just separate these, and it's very strong tabs up at the front here. There we go. Separate from in here, and this bit here and the bit joining the foot heel is all die cast, along with all up in here and this bit up in here, which is forged chest. So I'll just move that out of the way for now. So you want to come down to this panel, which is on a double hinge, and flip it all the way down. Untab this from the inside of the leg, just here. Flip that wheel around, and these small grey pieces here, just flip them around to the inside of that box art. Fold the whole thing up inside the leg, fold this down, and then you fold up the feet exactly the same as you would do on the Revenge of the Fallen leader class. Nothing really new there. So we'll do the same on this side, just open those feet up. Doing this a little out of order compared to how I did it the last time, but I'm just trying to rush my way through this. So fold that down, fold that in, fold that wee pipe in, yada yada. Fold that all up. Bring it all together, and 2 legs done. Now there's only a couple more steps left on these. First one, bring these out because these are actually tabbed in inside here. You can just see that there, so you have to just disconnect that and bring these wheels up. Oh, there we are. Just slip them up here and extend the legs out from the hips here. You'll see just there. They extend out and back so you can actually rotate them down now. And I'm going to need to move the camera up now for this. There's a dog whining in the background again, as she often does. Let's bring this up about here. There we are. Now, working on the rest of robot mode, you want to just keep this up out of the way. Coming down to here, we're now going to need to separate this whole section, so you want to lift these away from the arms here. This sort of helps if you get these and these doors untabbed. Just helps to free everything up. Now you're going to take this whole section, gently remove that off to the side. Everything in this is very complex and very delicate, so you're going to want to take this matrix chamber here, fold it up into here, untab the arms, and keeping these bits off to the side here, get out there in the way. Just move these arms out to the side. Oh, there we go, keep them there. And before we work on this head, I'm going to have to come up again. We're going to bring this whole section in together. Come on. There we are. You can see everything gets in the way of everything with this figure. There is no free movement, so you're bringing this down while bringing this around. And everything just sort of lines up, tabs in there, nice and secure. Coming around to the back here, you can see there's tabs down in here. Oi, what are you doing? Oh, I think I know what the dog wants, but we'll have to sort it out in a second. So bring these in, bring this down. I can't get these things out of my way. They really demonstrate. Oh, this is so bad. Right. Right, if I bring these arms up a bit so I can rotate these down and around, you're basically bringing these down until this all taps into place back here. What is stopping? Not relying on my own hinges. There we are. Got it. And there we are. All tabbed in. I've knocked the camera off. Well, you can see how incredibly frustrating this figure can get, so flip that chest panel up. The arms you have to just keep down here for now. You don't need to do anything with them just yet. Next bit to work on, now you have his head here, is the chest. So you untab the windows back here, slide those across and bring them down. And with these lights rotated inwards, you're going to take this whole section and rotate it back, making sure it's clear of this door. And then as you do, tab it into here. Where is it? Ah, there we go. That's it. And then just bring that door in around here. And we shall do the same on the other side here. So just bring this down. Bring this around, keeping everything clear. Tab into here. Rotate that light around, rotate that around. Done. Now just to work on the arms and the backpack, and this thing will finally be done. So, bringing these arms up, you rotate this piece out. Come on. Bring the whole thing up to here until it clicks in. There we are. Arm down. Lift this up and rotate these tanks around here. Final piece then with the arm is to take this, and as you rotate this, pull this side piece out. Bring that down, and there we have an arm done. I'll just do the same on the other side. So flip this out, bring this whole thing up until this tab meets this peg in here, and pegs in. Bring the arm down, swing this panel up, bring the tank around, pull this panel out, rotate this around, and slide this in. Other arm done. Now it's about 95% complete. Very little left to do now. So let's bring them around to the back. Now this is a section I say as I transform differently from the instructions, because according to the instructions these have to all peg together and then these sit back here like that. I don't like that because they were more angled. So I like, let's see if I can get this on the fly. Yep, bring them up like that. I'll do the same on this side. Just like that. Bring them together and it just gives you this cleaner looking backpack. Now that's not quite the configuration I had in photos, but it's close enough for the video review. But I'll leave it like that for now. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. It just gives it these more angled look that you had with the original leather class figure and in the movies. The final step, once we angle this down, bring the camera back so we can fit him on screen. Bring him back. And the last step, down in the legs, these panels here on the inside, snap it. And there you have Masterpiece Optimus Prime transformed into his robot mode, and he is absolutely stunning. I had complaints with vehicle mode, robot mode not so much. I cannot fathom this thing even now. It is so spectacular how they managed to completely compress everything in a way the leader class never could. The legs on the leader class were pretty much perfect, but even then they had their dimensional flaws, I would say. As a matter of fact, I'll just bring one in here to compare it to. Now, you saw the Revenge of the Fallen leader class in vehicle mode. So, here is my movie best in robot mode. And when you just look at the difference between them, you can start to see just where proportions are way better on the Masterpiece. These wheels out of line, chest is very small, head's very high. These panels on the shoulders come down too low. These wheels stick way out along with these boxes here, which are folded up along the inside of the leg on this one. Little things like that that just make this all the better. And while the paint on this is spectacular, it's much better on this figure. And the biggest difference between the two, this massive kibble backpack is gone. Completely gone. All folded away, all completely tidied the way it should have been, and he's gonna fall. Oh, there he goes. It looks spectacular. There is no complaints with this figure whatsoever. I have now the one modification that I did do for robot mode. I'll show you in here. These tabs used to be much longer. They used to be the size of this peg in here where I have them plugged into. Now with keeping it lower, that gives me an added benefit, because now instead of being held up high, these are now kept down lower. It's a simple modification, but it just clears everything away from Optimus Prime's head. Speaking of, let's get in there and look at that amazing head sculpt. The blue for the eyes. Now, I always did find that face a bit creepy, but that's not a problem because we can just come under the chin here. Lift this up, rotate this, and there we go. Now the world is a better place. Let me just bring it back here. I mean, the sheer weight, the size, I can't say that this wasn't worth every penny that I paid for it, which was a pretty penny. I'm not even going to say, because my fiancé is probably watching this and will kill me. But if you're a Transformers fan, you'll know exactly how much it is. Now, getting on to his accessories, which I have here. I'm going to try first for the Matrix. So you're basically just untransforming the chest. So you move these out. Those windows clear. Yep. Try to bring this down. No idea how to get in there to actually get that open. Oh, there, that worked. And get in here and open. Ah, there we are. There is the Matrix in there with Optimus' spark behind it. Now, it is die cast, but it's the fact that it has these holes along the top and the bottom which sort of ruins it for me, because you get rid of that really nice sort of caged effect that it had in the movie, and you even seen that with the Voyager class Optimus, which came with the Matrix, the Hunt for the Decepticons Battle Blades. That Matrix actually looks pretty damn cool. If not for the grey plastic, it would probably be the best one that we've gotten with the Transformers figure of Movie Prime. So we'll just bring this in again, close this all up. There we are. Right, I'm glad I went without a hitch, because I suppose the only flaw with this figure is that it does start to come apart very easily if you're not careful with it. As you can see, I've already knocked these out of place. even if they were tabbed in, because the tabs are only just these tiny little hooks around here. So I'll just leave them back again. This next feature, I'll go with the gun. So to get this in, his hands are posable as I said, but it's not as posable as you'd think. We're not talking Gundam levels of detail. His thumb goes up, bottom 3 fingers are one solid piece, index finger is 2 pieces. So you just bring them out enough, not too much, that you can get the gun in right here and peg it into the hand. Now he has his, well, now I can see a problem with this I didn't see before. The gun is very small. I do remember Optimus's guns being a lot bigger, a lot more intimidating than that. I can live with that for all the good the figure is. But maybe third-party add-ons, which I've seen, would be much better scaled. So taking that off to the side and closing his hand back up for his next accessory, which is the battle blade. And for that, you just take his hand here, unpeg it, and you can see in here there's a little slot that this is just going to slide into, and it fits in there nice and firmly. Now he has his battle blade. Yeah, not the best of poses, but I'll work with it. Now, I love this because that's the kind of size I'd expect the gun. That is massive. Very intimidating looking, very wide. When you compare it here with the one off of MB10, MB11, whatever he is, movie Best Optimus. This one's very small, very rounded tip on it. Good bit of paint, but it's lacking in detail. This one, much better. Much bigger, much more intimidating. Really like the accessories that come with this figure. So we'll just untap that there. Get on to the final thing, which is posability. So, articulation. His head goes up quite high, too high if you ask me. But if you bring it to about there, that's still a good bit of motion. Comes down a little. Turns, but not full 360 because it does bump into these pieces here. If you lift the head, you can still only get it to about this far. But that's still pretty good. Arms, as you can hear there, come forward on a rocker joint. Come up on just a standard joint, and depending how far you move this out, you can actually get them up pretty far. Just bring that back down again. Sometimes these arms like to untap if you're a little too rough with them. You have bicep swivel. Single joint on the arm that comes pretty far up. The hand has a rotation, as well as that inner crunch that you saw in the posability in the fingers. You have waist swivel that doesn't go far because this back piece does limit it here, this black bit. The legs also on rockers come up pretty far. Move his arm out of the way. Back about that far. Way out to the side. Bring them back in. Bring them up. They have a double hinge here, allowing for massive amount of movement in the leg there. Almost bringing these wheels together. And the feet, not on ball joints this time, but rather two separate joints. So you have one that goes up and down, and one that goes side to side. Although it does bump into this piece, which I fear breaking if I'm not too careful with it. So just be wary of some of that. It is a very fragile figure, and the last thing you want is to end up breaking something as brilliant as this. So, what... let's just get everything in here. So, battle blades, rifle, cannon, whatever you want to call it. And taking a big overall look at him here, I'd say this is by far the best Optimus Prime movie figure we've gotten to date, and I don't think we're going to get any better. The Studio Series Voyager class is definitely a letdown in its design, but you know, what can you do? Just annoying to see that when they're supposed to be pulling out all the stops with these new figures on the way, they settle for something so badly designed. So if you really want a glorious looking Optimus and one that you'll be happy with, don't settle for the Studio Series. Wait, get your hands on this. Don't wait for that one, because you will be disappointed by comparison. I'm just going to go ahead and say 8 out of 10, because it's brilliant, not flawless, far from it. If you're not transforming this back exactly the way you transformed it from one mode to the other, you will run into problems, and that's what is really the big problem for me. You could take some liberties with the leader class figure from Revenge of the Fallen. You could do steps out of sync, but you have to follow them the same order back and front with this figure, and you have to get them just right, or it's not going to go back together properly, as you've probably seen from a lot of people's complaints. That said, it's still a fantastic figure and definitely worth the money. So I can see myself getting into the Masterpiece market now if this is the first one I've gotten and this is how amazed I am by it. So for you this is going to be your first one, I say go for it. If you're in the Masterpiece market already and want to know if it's worth it, it is, but just be wary of those few details I've pointed out in this review. So thanks again for watching. Link to the blog below. Tell me what you think, and I'll see if I can get some photo sets done as well. Thanks again. Bye.